live.
Well, good morning and happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the Nurse Mark and the Green Nurse Daily Dose of AFA,
where we bring you hope and inspiration for growth and healing so you can start your day off the AFA way. And in case you don't know what that is, Mark wrote a book all about it.
Oh my gosh,
can we talk
can
about it?
actually read it in the book.
You can read
You're
it.
absolutely fucking amazing, exactly as you are. No
It's as
need
simple as
to
that.
be any better. You don't have to achieve any degrees. You don't have to, you don't have to change the way you look. You don't have to weigh any less. You don't have to weigh any more. You don't have to change your hair color. You don't have to even have hair. Like, you're absolutely fucking amazing, exactly as you are. All of the bullshit that tells you that you're not is just that illusionary bullshit. And that's what the book's about. It's about stripping away all of that illusionary, non-real bullshit that you inherit from other people.
And just think that those illusions stem from words. So just look at it as you're taking words. It's all it is.
It's language, right? Before you have language, it's just you and everything.
Right.
Like, you're totally part of this thing. As soon as you get language, well, there's you and there's me. Suddenly there's separation. And there's that thing and there's that thing. And it starts to, and it's only in language.
That's that language. That's it. That's if you really think about it. And when you're first born, you interact with the world with your senses. And then when you learn language, we give meaning to everything.
Everything.
Right? Every single thing.
Language, we have meaning, which is reality. It's our reality is created by the language. So that's why it's so important to have affirmations, right, Cher?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Every day.
The daily love, because we're reading language. We're receiving language that has meaning. And so we discern what that meaning is. You and I give our opinions, which is simply our experience of those words put together.
I have a great story for you. This is a great story. So my brother is 10 years younger than me. And basically, my sister and I, once we learned how to swear, we kind of took the swear words to the next level. And my mother was like, "You guys are grounded." I'm gonna, she was really upset that the F-bombs were flying around the house. And my little brother was 10 years younger, and he was starting to say it. So what we did was we shifted. My sister and I came up with an idea. We said, "Let's pretend that sparkle is a bad word." So we went up to him. We go, "Kyle, sparkle. Shh, don't say anything. Oh, don't tell mom. Don't say sparkle around mom." And so we would say, and we would go sparkle, and we would do all these, and all of a sudden, my brother comes marching out, and he goes, "Sparkle, sparkle," and he started going off, and my mother's like looking and laughing, and my sister and I are giggling, and so for the longest time, he thought that sparkle was a bad word. Isn't that great?
But you see how the power of words are?
Yeah.
Sparkle didn't have any meaning at all in the negative, but you gave it a context, and suddenly that word was bad.
Suddenly it was bad. Yeah, exactly. And I'll have to say,
good morning, Jack.
Good morning, everyone. Rise and shine.
That's a great one. Happy Friday, everybody. Fridays, they're just one of my favorite days of the week. I mean, I really do love all the days because individually they're so just perfect in their own way. But Friday, come on. It's the day where you can start to just relax a little bit, right?
Fry high day.
Fry high day. All right.
Everyone's elevated.
You got anything from the angels today? I got some daily love.
Oh, let's do some daily love. I got my little angel thing, and I'll take a peek at the angels while you start to pull up the love.
Let me just, you know what? Go ahead. You got the angel thing? Do that right now.
I got the angel.
Something up.
All right. What's today's date? May
28th. It's Memorial Day weekend. This is like the official start of summer for everybody.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. This is the angel's message. Angels say today, wherever you find stress, you will also find feelings of victimhood. Your God-given universal power ensures that you can never be a victim except in belief. Ooh, 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 ooh. That's
Ooh.
another good one, right?
Yeah.
And it ties right into
Yeah.
mental health month for sure. So
Right.
here it is well, I can give an example of that is, that feeling of stress when I wasn't able to do what I could do before I got sick. So, being a high functioning nurse, going to not functioning
Yep.
at all, the stress of what I could do and not do. And then I made
Mhm.
myself a victim. Look what they did to me.
Yeah.
Look what well, I'm not going to lie. I mean, there was some things that I still haven't resolved with that, the
Yep.
medical and pharmaceutical trauma, but putting yourself into a victim role, right? That was something that I created. And how did I get out of
Sure.
it? Cannabis helped
Yeah.
me to rephrase that story, the
Right.
stress around what happened. So I
And you know
pulled
how it
myself
goes.
out of the story.
It's like there is what happened empirically. There are
Mhm.
facts that these are the things that occurred and happened. And then you applied your language and meaning to it, and you became the
Exactly.
victim, right? So
Exactly.
cannabis allowed you to change that interpretation of what happened from being I was a victim to okay, I've got a say in the matter of how I roll out from this.
Exactly.
Like
This is what
I can
happened. This
step
is what
out of
happened.
that.
And I have a choice as to how I want to respond and
Oh
how I
yeah.
want to do I want to sit in it or do I want to do something? Cannabis, honestly, lit a fire under my ass. Seriously, lit. Like I just say, I got lit up. And
Yeah.
it was lit up in a way so I could initiate change, that growth and healing, right? The inspiration. That plant inspired me so
Yeah.
much.
Yeah.
Well, here you see it years later. Here we are, Mark,
Here we are.
talking
Yeah.
about it, right? So,
Yeah.
yes. So the angels
And I'm
say,
sorry that you're still such a quiet, demure person. I mean, someday you'll come out of your shell, I'm sure, Sherry. So let's help her, everybody. We'll help Sherry come out of her shell and be boisterous and happy. And oh, wait a minute, you already are all those things.
it's so funny. I definitely,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely have my moments. It's funny because my astrological sign is Cancer, so it is in that shell. I, I
Ooh.
do go into that shell, but when I come
Yeah.
out, boy, I really do come out
Yeah.
out of the
All
closet.
right.
Sure.
Well, you're out of the shell now. All right, let's do some daily love.
All
Listen,
right,
the
daily
daily
love.
love is being I always have put it up on SoundCloud, right? So
Mhm.
SoundCloud is this awesome audio platform where you can pop up audio tracks and musicians use it a lot. So I've always put it on SoundCloud and then texted out a link. Well, I'm getting rid of the text part because it's costing me like $1,000 a month. I mean, not a month, but a year or more to
A
do it. So
lot.
I'm like, I don't know. Sorry, folks. I'm not getting paid to do it. I love doing it. I'm going to
But we're gonna do
continue
it
to do
here.
it. But y'all got to go to SoundCloud now in order to get to it. And I'll show you
Okay.
the
You're gonna
link
put
right there.
good. Okay,
All
great.
right.
All right.
So from now on, it's up on SoundCloud every morning.
Okay,
Go
wait,
there,
really.
listen to it. You can probably set SoundCloud to send you a little notification when it pops up.
Okay,
Uh,
Mark, give me a smile. Smile. I'm gonna do a family photo. That's so I can put it up later.
love it. Love it. All right. Let's get to it. Let's
Let's
get
get
to
to
it.
it.
Here we go.
SoundCloud
Well, this is
daily
pretty
love.
appropriate, Sherry, because this is what we do. Like, we don't get paid to do this every day.
Nope.
I don't get paid to do daily love. Been doing it for
Mm-mm.
over a year. You know why we
Nope.
do it?
Because we
In
love.
service to others. In service to others. And that's what today's daily love is about. It's from the daily word and it's called serve. I share my gifts in service to others. The love of God that lives in my heart inspires me to be of service. Today, I open my mind to new ideas and the belief that I can make a positive difference. Service can manifest in small ways and have a large effect. Acts of service carry with them a consciousness of oneness with others, with nature,
Mm.
with God. If I question my ability to make a difference, I remember what it feels like when someone helps me. A connection occurs, a lifting of spirit, a feeling of warmth. I look for new ways to serve. It could be through prayers, smiles, errands, monetary contributions, the sharing of food, deep listening. The list goes on. Service is love in action and a wonderful way to share my divine gifts. Yes.
It's Mark, absolutely. It is one of the languages of love, and it
Yes.
is
Yes.
my
Acts of service, right?
primary. It is my
Acts of
primary language of love. Is
I'm gonna
acts of
tell
service.
you, I will absolutely tell you for the majority of women that I've dated, and
It's
I was
it.
single for 10 years, and I love dating, and I do things 100%. So I dated a lot of wonderful, amazing women. And I would say the vast majority of those women, their language of love was acts of
Acts of
service.
service.
Acts of
Yeah.
service, yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Seriously. And here's the reason why is because the acts of service allowed an opportunity to open up space for more time for me to spend with my loved one.
Yeah,
So, right? So you think about
yeah,
that. So,
love it.
quality time is the second
Mhm.
one. So if you think about the acts of service,
Yeah,
helping me to get something done,
yeah,
doing something that I may not want to do, showing me
right.
that you love me, it basically opens up that space for me to be available to want to do something
Yeah.
for my
So
loved
here's
one.
the human part of serving someone else. I've always done this. Like, I volunteer to help out and do things in the community, and it's just come naturally. For some reason, it just always felt good, right? Felt right. And I'd help friends move and stuff like that. But, I'd get this attitude of, well, motherfucker, I've helped this person move 16 times. They can't even come and fucking help me for one goddamn weekend. Well, that's it. I'm done serving that. I'm not helping them. Right? I get that attitude. And then I get past that and I say, well, I volunteered to help them. And you know what?
Exactly.
I felt good when I did.
Did it.
So
Exactly.
I'm going to do it again. I'm going to help them again. I'm not going to have an expectation I'm going to get anything in return. That's just ego. That's all it is. And I'll tell you, I help out a few friends on a very, very regular basis, and nobody knows about it. I don't talk about it. I don't say anything about what it is that I'm helping out, and I don't need to, because if
Exactly.
I'm going to trumpet that I'm helping them out, that's just my
Ooh,
ego wanting that stroke. My
that
ego saying,
attention.
"Hey, recognize me for being that good person that I am." Nope.
Right.
Just quietly
Yeah.
go about my business, move along,
That's
serve
what it
others.
is. That's why it's called random acts of service, random
Yes.
acts of kindness.
Yep.
Randomly. No one needs to know but you, right?
No one needs to know but you.
Exactly.
Absolutely. And
That's
they're
great.
magical. So try one today. Just do a random act of kindness today. Serve somebody else in some way.
Mhm.
It's magical. It
It
really
is
is.
kind of fun. It is fun.
It changes your day. It changes your outlook. It certainly changes somebody else's. It's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
All
it's
right.
that same thing, Mark. We talk about the skipping of the stones.
Yeah.
You
Mhm.
it is. It opens up doors to so many possibilities for
Yeah.
healing and love. Yeah.
So here we
All
are. Fun
about
fact
that
Friday.
on Fact Friday. And
Oh.
it has been Mental Health Awareness Month all month. Yesterday was did you know this? Yesterday was World Microdosing Day.
I did not know that. I would have
I
partaken.
well, it was interesting. I wasn't on social media as much as I would have liked to, but one of my awesome nurses, Green Nurse Carrie Lee, made me aware of that. So I was like, oh my God, this all fits in so well. Mental Health
Mhm,
Awareness Month. We've been
mhm.
talking about different conditions in the endocannabinoid system. Yesterday, we talked about progressive ketamine treatment that can be used,
Yes.
and how cannabinoid therapeutics and how we upregulate our endocannabinoid system can be a great integrative way of carrying that forth. And now today we're going to be covering
Yeah.
another topic. This is a big one, really big one.
Uh-huh.
PTSD, post traumatic stress disorder in cannabis.
It can happen to anybody. It really, really can. Now, think about this, and really consider this. A traumatic event is very individualized.
Yeah.
What is traumatic for one person may not be traumatic for another, but it does not
Hmm.
matter. It's like a traumatic event is individual and can cause that shift in the physiology in the brain, which is
Yes.
manifested in PTSD. It is very much that physiological change within the brain.
Yes. It can, even, perceived, real or even perceived physical danger.
Completely.
It
Well, that's
doesn't,
the manifestation, right? You have this
yeah.
traumatic event and then you relive it over and over and over and over again. You get in that
Yeah.
loop.
Yeah. Yeah. So what is it? The sudden trauma,
Yep.
whatever it may be, happens
Mhm.
without warning, right? It can be repeated over and over in our mind. Some of
Yep.
it can be, you think about it too. Some of it is intentional violence of the body and psyche, as it
Yep.
says. Some of it can involve grotesque injury, death, rape, loss of a close friend or relative. And then I even
Right.
take about it a step further as nurses, what we see. Think about that. What do we see when we're taking care of patients in the hospital? I think about all the PTSD that the
Think
current
about
medical
that,
system is
right?
experiencing, you know?
Yeah, you
And then
immerse in that. You're
patients on
immersed
the
in
other side. So the whole PTSD around what we're doing to patients, medical and pharmaceutical trauma. Seriously, it's a real thing.
it is a real thing, you know,
Yeah.
and I have had, you know, family members who have suffered from this. My dad was a state trooper for 20 years. In the last 10 years of his role in that job was to go to every fatality and every murder and photograph the evidence. So he was involved in all of those. And then he would have to go to the autopsies and photograph, and, you know, autopsies for little children who had been abused and killed. Like, he had that immersion for 10 years. Can you imagine at the end of 10
No.
years, he was pretty roughed up
Tried.
with PTSD.
Yeah. So interesting. So we'll get into cannabis. So we was exploring cannabis. There's a lot of information here, but this is
Oh,
really
yeah.
a good one. So
Mhm.
PTSD is also known as traumatic neurosis, acute PTSD, chronic PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yep.
It's a mental emotional disorder of the nervous system,
Mhm.
right? And it's a debilitating condition that affects
Yep.
the mind, the body, and the spirit. And
Uh-huh.
like we had said, it's from a direct or a witnessed exposure or even perceived exposure to an extreme traumatic event, such as war, police action,
Yep.
famine, earthquake, tsunami, assault, abuse, rape,
You name
kidnapping, torture, plane
life.
crash, explosions, life threatening illnesses, or any situation involving the threat of death, extreme fear, dread, and helplessness.
Mhm.
And that's heavy. It's heavy stuff.
Yeah, it is.
No, and the symptoms are can be debilitating. I mean,
Of
I
course they can.
I know.
Hypervigilance, for instance, you know, always on edge, always like waiting for like always being on guard. It's that fight or flight, that sympathetic nervous system fired
System.
up, that amygdala just waiting for the next thing to happen, and, you know,
I can
and
feel it.
vigilant.
I
Yeah.
can feel it. You know that
Yeah.
chronic negative affect. So you think the hypervigilance. You know, when people
Mhm.
get triggered, I call it into I call it a PTSD flare because I've
Yeah.
experienced them. It's that fight, flight, freeze, collapse.
Yep.
Right? You're either fighting, you're running, you're
Mhm.
freezing, you're
Yeah.
panicking, or you're literally collapsing.
Right.
And you know, and
Right.
experiencing all of those is
All of them.
really,
You
it's
you
so
yeah. You
draining.
become
Even
emotionally numb, right? You can
yeah,
just disconnect from that limbic system. You can just disconnect from all emotion because you're in that mode, and, you know, that's just not working. It's not a pathway that's available for you. And, you know, the next one, nightmares, that's the
yeah,
one that we try to treat with, honestly, with
drug,
cannabinoids, and
yeah,
that's what they try to treat, you know, in the medical setting, because, you know, if you're having these consistent
consistent
nightmares night
nightmares.
after night after night, your restorative sleep is gone.
It's
And
gone. Yeah,
that
it
sleep deprivation
makes
just
it worse.
continues to snowball this whole thing wildly out of control. So cannabinoids, specifically, CBD, you know, just really has a powerful positive effect on quelling those nightmare activities. And that's what we
Yeah.
try to do with people, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Getting that restorative sleep is huge because it helps to what? Regulate those other neurotransmitters, right?
Right.
Quieting down those exciting signals, the adrenal
Uh-huh.
glands, the adrenal fatigue, the cortisol, you know,
All
constantly.
of it.
It's that I can feel it. Like even talking about it, I can feel it in my body. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Because it brings me right there. So the other thing too is besides that, you know, people have, you know, some people may have amnesia, dissociative,
Sure.
not remembering it, and some
Right.
people may be constantly reliving it. They can see something, hear something, smell something, feel something
And they're
coming from
right there.
right there. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
actually seen it with a war veteran. I actually
Yep.
saw a combat war veteran go completely from 100% in the present moment back to the battlefield within a
Yeah.
matter of 5 minutes. It was really, really, really intense.
Yeah.
And just whoa, like, and just to see how
Yep.
like he was there, and I was like, "Whoa, where?" Like, and just to have him explain and talk about it, and it was
Yep.
through, positively processing perception that they were able to, pull him out of that story,
Right.
and using cannabis. So he,
And
we in his
cannabis works. Yeah,
yep,
definitely.
talked him off the ledge, brought him back to
Mhm.
reality. Cannabis did that. A couple of inhalations and some talking right in
Yeah.
without having to. You think about some of these war veterans that have had, combat war veterans, and they have these severe fight or flight
Mhm.
responses. What happens to them? They end up in an institution. They end
Of course
up
they do.
restrained, chemically and physically restrained.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
can you imagine if you could offer someone a puff or two and a little
Yeah.
chat, and you
Yeah.
bring them back that quickly?
I know. And so, traditional therapy for this, well, they try other pharmaceuticals. They get it on a litany of other medications, benzodiazepines and different things. But one of the things that works really well is an alternative modality called EMDR. So
Mm,
it's desensitization using a rapid eye
eye
movement.
movement,
And isn't
right?
that fascinating that just by doing these certain techniques with focus of the eyes, that you're literally changing what's going on in the brain. So I think cannabis is a great complementary to that.
It
Like
is.
the two of those together,
Yeah,
I think it's an amazing opportunity to have powerful healing.
yeah, I agree. And even in traditional psychotherapy, working with my
Yeah.
cognitive behavioral therapist, some of my best sessions were when I used, a combination of THC and CBD right
Yeah.
before the session,
Yeah.
to be able to process those things from different
Yep.
perspectives. If I'm in
Yeah.
it, if I'm really in
CBT is
it,
a great modality. That's a really cognitive behavioral therapy
behavioral
is
therapy,
really so good for so many different things that are going on in the mental health space. And if you're suffering with different things, CBT can be
cognitive
very, very
behavioral
powerful.
therapy. Well,
Yep.
it kind of reminds me of what, the whole AFA thing. It's like you think is what you get. It's like
Yeah.
really looking at these different situations from
Mhm.
different perspectives. And are you feeling it? Are you thinking it? Is it the truth? So it's really questioning every single
Yeah.
thing and dialoguing around
It's
different.
it's sorta like another branch of meditation, right? It's just
There it
taking
is.
that it's like waking meditation where you're taking your awareness and saying, "What's happening right now with me?"
Right. Right.
Let's analyze what's going on with me and how I feel in this situation, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's this. Yeah, so that's what it is. It's so the out. It's the same thing. It's bringing it back inside for you to process, so you can look at the world in a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Instead of,
Yeah.
and it's really really powerful,
So
powerful stuff. So
powerful,
yeah,
man. What do we got for studies? I mean, I in this coursework that I just took at University of Maryland, we had a long module on PTSD because cannabis is being utilized very successfully in
right,
in helping people deal with PTSD. So
right,
there's a
yeah.
lot of information out there.
There's
And so what do
ton.
we find in Canna Keys?
Well, okay. Well, Kanakis. Well, first of all, Kanakis says that, and as we know, PTSD can be from mild to
Yeah.
wild,
Uh-huh.
right, and have a spectrum of different
We
symptoms,
are
and that can.
spectrum people.
We are spectrums. And it
Right.
can vary and change over time, you know what I mean? So as you start to heal, your symptoms, if you do have diagnosed PTSD,
Yep.
mild to mild, can change over time depending upon what you're doing or not doing to take care of
Mhm.
yourself. So it's grouped into 4 types: intrusive memories,
Mhm.
avoidance,
Yep.
negative changes in thinking and mood,
Mhm.
changes in physical and emotional reactions.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
so 4 different types of
Mhm.
PTSD. So the research around it, this is really, really good news. I get very, very excited about this.
Yeah.
51 total studies,
That's
0
great.
lab, 6
Yeah.
animal, 18 meta-analysis reviews. And when
Yep.
Mark has explained that they take a lot of different studies and bring them together.
They
The
take as
best.
much as they can find in the world of what's been done in research and research that hasn't been published yet, which is important, right? Because that's
Right,
the latest research. They take into
right,
consideration all of that, and in a meta-analysis, they look at each one of the studies, and then they really do look at it from a very, very statistical basis, and they decide, is this one of strong validity? Is this one? And they pull them all together, and then they give an opinion of what the results of all of that is. So it's
right,
very, very rigorous.
right. Right. But here's the, okay, so we did 18 meta-analyses, 5 clinical human trials, and 2 double-blind placebo trials. Now
Yeah.
there's only 2. So you'd think, but I'm going to tell you the results of this were so exciting. I mean, this
Yeah.
is huge,
Uh-huh.
huge. Overall positive
Yep.
90%. Clinically, looking at the data, overall positive 100%, perfect 10.
Perfect 10. Woo! Cannabis
Right?
for
So
the win.
cannabis totally for the win in
Yeah.
managing these different types of
Right.
intrusive memories, avoidance, negative changes in thinking and mood, changes in
Yeah.
physical and emotional reactions,
Yep.
PTSD,
Right.
cannabis.
So it comes down to chemotype again,
Yeah.
right? So we're talking about the different chemotypes, and of course, I'm sure that you already have guessed that it's CBD dominant, which has been
Yes.
studied the
Studied the
most
most.
because of its non-intoxicating qualities, right? That's always
Yeah.
the go-to first is let's study CBD and see if that has an effect.
Right.
And it does, as you point out, Sherry, regularly, it does work differently in the body than THC. It works
Yep.
on many different receptors. And so, of course, it's going to be the most
One
studied. So,
studied.
so
Yeah.
chemotype 3. Then the next one, Sherry, what was that? The
So
next,
so the next one that was studied the
Mhm.
most after CBD dominant was THC dominant,
Yeah.
which is really good news,
Mhm.
And then the third, the least studied, was the equal amount of CBD and THC. So like Mark had said, they were studying the CBD dominant first,
Mhm.
because it indirectly works with the endocannabinoid system. CBD works on indirectly with those cannabinoid receptors,
Yep.
and then it works on all the other neurotransmitter signaling systems at the same time.
Right.
And so then
Right.
when we look at too about the endocannabinoid system in our body
Yep.
and the research around it and
Uh-huh.
how and why it works, right? So the endocannabinoid system just makes sense if you think about CBD working indirectly with the cannabinoid receptors and directly with all of the other receptors, because the endocannabinoid system, as we know, is
Mhm.
involved in processing fear, stress, traumatic memories, emotions, and the behavior with relevance to the PTSD with
Right.
what's going on. Really interesting.
Right. Yeah.
So that's why, and what else too? The endocannabinoid system has emerged as a target to treat physical, mental, emotional signs and symptoms of PTSD.
Yeah.
Really
Now,
fascinating.
this is a common occurrence when we're looking at different disease states and different mental health issues. We find that the endocannabinoid levels, right?
Hmm.
Anandamide
Yep.
and 2-AG, they're in patients with PTSD, and again, in a lot of other disease
Diseases.
states, PTSD specifically, they're significantly altered. They're lower than what
Right.
they are in healthy people. So
Right.
there's an upset, an imbalance in the endocannabinoid system.
Cannabinoid
Go
system. Yeah.
figure. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it could, and yeah, so you think about what causes an imbalance of the
Mhm.
endocannabinoid system. It could be those circumstances around that particular incident that
Yep.
they experience that
Mhm.
started that dysregulation of their
Right.
endocannabinoid system.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I mean, it could be as simple as that when they have this traumatic experience, their body physiologically responds by changing the receptor count in their body. Like these
Right.
things happen, right?
Right.
And your receptors change. Like for instance, if you have cancer, you may have many more receptors in your body for CB1 because it's looking for that bliss molecule, right?
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
so yeah, so in PTSD, that could be what's happening as well.
Mm.
So, Sherry, it has been postulated that reductions in that internal endogenous cannabinoids are associated with retention of traumatic emotional memories, and what they call that is extinguishing the memory. Right? There's a
Hmm.
process in your brain that when you store a memory, a traumatic one or one you don't necessarily want to access all the time, your brain will extinguish that memory, so that's not accessed as readily. It's kind
Right.
of cool. And
Yeah.
so, um, the reductions of those internal endogenous cannabinoids could be involved in the frequency of nightmares and suicidal ideation commonly observed with patients with PTSD.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about the case study, Sherry.
Oh, so this one randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled crossover trial conducted on 10 soldiers with PTSD show that the administration of the synthetic cannabinoid, nabilone, it was titrated to the effective doses measured by nightmare suppression, or it was reached the 3 milligram dose, produced a significant relief for this military patient population.
Yeah.
So this is a small dose, just a small one.
Right. And imagine that that's a synthetic cannabinoid.
That's synthetic.
Imagine what a full spectrum cannabinoid
Yeah.
profile
Yeah.
or product is going to do.
Yeah.
So we have case studies too, right?
Yeah.
Case studies are a little bit lower down in the hierarchy of research because there are a lot of, confounding factors that can get involved in case studies, but they're still relevant. Like they're
Mhm.
still relevant because they're done with people. And so we're
Right.
getting some data back. So what about the case study, Sherry?
All right, so this is really cool. So in a case study series, so they brought together the data of 11 adults with
Mhm.
PTSD, and they co-administered, along with their psychiatric medications and psychotherapy, oral CBD. And basically it found to reduce symptoms in 10 of the 11 participating PTSD patients.
Yeah.
So so when we talk about bridging the gap. So sometimes,
Mhm.
patients need to be on these other psychiatric medications. CBD came in, bridged the gap from what they weren't getting from traditional medicine, and their symptoms were reduced.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't need to be all or nothing,
No, it can be very complementary.
Exactly.
Preclinical data finds that CBD reduces fear expression and enhances that fear extinction, right? That memory, that putting that away in a different box. And together they produce lasting effects in fear states in testing animals. So given that CBD is already extensively used in the clinical setting, given its positive safety profile, really, really positive safety profile, this data provides further potential translational use of CBD in conditions such as PTSD and
And
specific
social.
phobias.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. So, Mark.
Jerry.
So here's the other thing that I found really interesting too is the researchers did note that PTSD occurs more often in females,
Yeah.
and that estrogen related differences
Mhm.
affect its underlying pathophysiology, which extends into the endocannabinoid system.
Yeah.
So I thought that was very
What are you saying,
interesting.
Sherry? Men and women are different somehow?
Somehow we are a little
I think,
different.
yeah, I think you're right. There's different physiological things happening, and yeah,
Yeah. The
yeah,
other thing I found too is cannabinoid sensitive receptor sites play a role in decreasing symptoms of PTSD,
yep,
and they include the CB1 receptor,
mhm,
CB2 receptor, but to a lesser degree,
right,
cortisol,
yep,
glucocorticoid, and the
yep,
5-HT1A serotonin receptors.
yeah,
So
baby,
just think these are the areas that it plays, a huge role,
right.
a good role.
And you really got to note that these studies were done with synthetic cannabinoids
Yeah.
because of the population that we're dealing with, primarily veterans and federal government intervention. They're only going to allow synthetic cannabinoids. I'm really excited for what full spectrum cannabinoid therapy is going to be able to do in this.
Yes, I agree.
Ultimately, it was 90% overall positive and 100%
Percent
clinically
clinically
positive.
positive. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, and it does work. It does work.
yeah,
Even, I'll just end with one quick little story,
yeah,
because it's really powerful. Do we have time? What do we got for minutes? Okay. So as you all know, I have some medical and pharmaceutical trauma issues. A lot of fear around going to the doctors because the system truly failed me and I thought I was going to die. So PTSD around that. Cannabis helped me, but here's the thing: is one of the things that I always talk about is that cannabis isn't the end all be all. I still need to get traditional care, and sometimes that's hard because I get scared. But the plant truly, truly helps using adequate amounts of CBD. All
mm,
of those other endocannabinoid system enriching tools in
yep,
combination would help me to work through those fears of
yeah.
having to go to the doctor. So I fell on roller skates, right? I needed to go get my
My
wrist
roller
checked out.
derby queen partner goddess fell.
6 feet. I was like probably six
Oh,
foot
figure you.
five.
You put wheels on a tall, beautiful person. Likelihood of falling is going to probably increase. What?
Exactly. So anyways, the bottom line
Yeah.
is that I I took it hard, and it really hurt. And part of me was gonna just be like, oh, I got all the tools at my house. I don't need to do anything. No, I need to go. I need to get checked out. And just to hear, because I'm what, 50? I've got osteoporosis. I think I'm a roller derby queen, and I
You gotta
think
know. You gotta
right. So
know.
it's important, right? Hands are important. I never realized how important my hands were when I had a hard time brushing my teeth or opening up a pill bottle, the
Yep.
Tylenol, opening up the refrigerator. Really, seriously. So, anyways, I was triggered a little bit. I was like, ooh, but all of those
Uh,
different tools, cannabis, CBD in particular. I
yep.
macro dosed on CBD yesterday, and I got through it.
Boom.
In and out, boom. No fractures, no sprains, just completely bruised.
Beautiful.
Bruised. So
Beautiful.
anyway, so it works, and I was able to get
Yeah.
through it.
Yeah. All right. So listen, folks. Oh my God. Thank you for all being here. First of all,
Oh, yeah. God,
you
I
make
gotta.
it. That's why this is what we do. We're all in this together. We're helping each other here. And I love to see you showing up every day. You make my day. You make my AFA day. And so don't miss 9 a.m. This is Frequency Friday today. We're gonna
Oh
do some
yeah,
daily work. We're gonna have
we're
some
gonna do.
fun. Yeah, we're gonna get that energy on. And listen, it's Memorial Day weekend. Don't you want some good energy today?
Don't you
You want
want
to
some?
start your weekend off and slide on in, have yourself a great fun weekend, huh?
Yes, Frequency Friday. Absolutely, all about vibes. True
Yeah, yeah.
vibrational healing. We're going to be talking about the Healy. It's a quantum sensor, class 2 medical device for microcurrent frequency for chronic pain, acute pain, migraines, fibromyalgia. Really
Yes.
cool. And then off label for other stuff. So we're going to
Love
educate
it.
on that. Yeah, which is
Love
going to be
it.
great. And then on Monday, we do have our mastermind group
Yes, we do.
for anyone that is
On
interested in learning.
Memorial
Yeah,
Day. Come
a
on in.
professional coach, right?
Yeah,
Exactly. Come
yeah.
and learn with us.
Yep. And I had someone on, I think her name was Caitlin or Catherine, local in Massachusetts, who you had spoke to last fall about mentoring opportunities. She's interested, so we gotta figure
Oh,
that out.
good.
I spoke
All
it to
right.
somebody in college
Excellent.
yesterday. Yeah.
Oh,
Yep.
good, good, good. That's so wonderful.
So here
Excellente.
we
So it
go.
is. There
Memorial
we
Day
go.
weekend, everybody.
It is
This is the
Memorial
only
Day
Friday, May
weekend.
28th, 2021 you're gonna get. You gotta absolutely make it the best day ever and have that AFA day because you are absolutely fucking amazing. Don't let
Thank
anybody tell you any different. And if they do, shake it off. They don't know what they're talking about. Sherry, what's it
Yes.
all about?
Oh, Mark, you know what it's all about. It's about
Yeah.
living your best life, helping others do the same, and decreasing stigma around what it means to feel good. We all deserve to feel good. Have an
We all
AFA
deserve
day,
it.
everyone. We
See you
love
soon,
you.
folks.